A wealthy software engineer named Peter is happily married to his wife Lisa, who is also a well-known shoe designer. They attend her fashion show together with their daughter Abigail. The couple later go out for dinner, where Lisa asks if he ever thought about being with another woman. Peter is shocked by the question, but answers no. Lisa smiles and says she loves him. She then leaves for Milan to do business with an Italian firm, but it seems she hasn't come back for a while, as Peter is shown angrily taking her clothes out of the closet. Abigail sees Lisa's red shoes and remembers the paper her mom once hid inside. She gives it to Peter, saying it was meant for him. The paper reads, Lake Como, and Peter suddenly looks upset. That night, Lisa's phone rings. A voice message plays from a man saying he shouldn't be calling her, but he misses her deeply. That's when Peter realizes that his wife had been unfaithful. He opens her laptop and finds a folder named Love, but it's protected by a password. He tries his name and Abigail's, but neither works. He then checks her emails and finds a romantic message from a man named Ralph. At his office, Peter asks their security analyst, Joy, to trace the email address. She warns him it's illegal and doesn't want to do it, but Peter talks her into it, and she finally agrees. He tries her laptop again, and this time, he uses Lake Como as the password. The Love folder opens. Inside are romantic pictures of Lisa and another man in Lake Como, Milan. When he sees their private photos in bed, Peter is devastated. Soon after, Joy sends him an email with Ralph's full name and home address in Milan. Peter quickly books a flight to Milan and checks into the hotel his wife used to stay at. He heads to Ralph's place and waits. After hours, the man comes out and Peter follows him. Ralph goes into a bar and sets up a chessboard, waiting for someone to play. Peter returns to the hotel, looking at his wife's photos and remembering their happy memories. The next day, Peter returns to the bar and sets up the chessboard at Ralph's usual seat. When Ralph arrives, they introduce themselves and begin playing. Peter says he lives in England, and Ralph says his girlfriend, who's a shoe designer, lives there. Peter quietly listens as Ralph shares how he met Lisa in Milan. Ralph says they've known each other for 12 years, meaning Lisa had been cheating for a long time. But Ralph says he hasn't seen her in 9 months. Back in England, Abigail visits her parents' house with her boyfriend. She finds Lisa's phone and discovers her mom's affair. Peter takes a walk with Ralph and tells him he had a good 25-year marriage. He talks about how deeply he and Lisa loved and trusted each other. Meanwhile, Ralph says he enjoys fooling around and thinks marriage is like a trap. He brags about his rich lifestyle, traveling a lot, and having many women. The next day while they play chess, Ralph's phone rings, and it's Lisa's number. He becomes anxious, tries to answer, but there's no voice. It turns out Abigail was calling and hangs up quickly. Ralph is left confused and shaken. The next day, as Peter follows Ralph, Abigail shows up and tells him she knows everything. Peter shows her the emails and photos, then starts yelling, saying he was loyal the whole time. Abigail cries and says she can't take it anymore before walking away. Peter then visits Ralph's home and finds out the man is just a janitor living in a rundown apartment, far from the image he gives off. Ralph is shocked to see him and nervously says he's just there to feed a tortoise. As he goes to get it, Peter notices a hammer and is about to hurt Ralph, but he can't go through with it and walks away. Back at the hotel, Abigail tells her father to stop everything and just move on. She leaves for the airport to return to England. Peter later sends Ralph a message using Lisa's email, pretending to be her. He invites Ralph to dinner and a weekend trip to Lake Como. Ralph panics and calls Peter to invite him over for lunch at his place. He grabs the key to a fancy apartment and makes sure no one's there. When Peter arrives, Ralph lets him in, acting like the fancy apartment is his. He says Lisa invited him to a weekend getaway, and that he's also planning to throw a dinner in London. But Ralph admits he's short on money. Peter offers to help and gives him some cash. On Friday night, Ralph shows up at the hotel where Lisa was supposed to meet him. He asks the front desk, and the receptionist says the guest is already waiting. When he gets to the table, he's stunned to see Peter instead. Peter tells him Lisa won't be coming, because she has passed away. Ralph trembles and asks what happened. Peter says it was cancer, and Lisa never told him until it was too late. In a flashback, Peter learns about her illness from the doctor, who says Lisa didn't want surgery, possibly because she was afraid to lose her beauty. One day, Lisa tells Peter that she's happy with him. Peter asks her to write down the place where she felt happiest, but she refuses. When she's alone, Lisa writes Lake Como on a piece of paper and asks Abigail to hide it in one of her red shoes, saying it's for Peter. It meant she felt happiest with Ralph in Lake Como, which is why Peter got so upset when he read it. Ralph asks Peter how he found out, and Peter tells him about the pictures and emails. Ralph is upset and calls Peter cruel for using Lisa's email to deceive him. Ralph then admits he's just pretending to be rich, but Lisa knew all about it. She even paid off his debts. She loved him, even if he had nothing. Peter gets angry and leaves. He returns to his house in England and stays in his room, thinking about the time Lisa cried and told him to let her go. The next day, Peter sends Ralph another email asking about the dinner. Then, he calls Abigail and tells her to come to London. In London, Peter shows up at the dinner party Ralph planned for Lisa. Ralph is happy to see him. He's also invited Lisa's friends and co-workers. During dinner, Ralph shares stories about how Lisa designed shoes so beautifully.
Stroking the soul to rise like a caress.
Peter listens and smiles. Abigail arrives and sees her dad finally looking peaceful. Ralph makes a toast, and everyone claps. Peter suddenly stands and tells everyone to look at Ralph. People grow tense, unsure of what he'll say. But Peter simply says Ralph was a good friend to Lisa. Then, he gives a toast to his wife, and everyone claps for him too. While waiting for the train, Peter tells his daughter that Ralph is a terrible man, but somehow, he's also amazing, just like Lisa. Moments later, the train arrives, and the two head home.